Mama, Honorable Duchess of the Market that keeps our belly full, Her Royal Highness, the one that turns hundreds into millions. We, your children you carried on your back, say thank you. Mama no dey sleep, no dey tire. The ever-efficient Chief Operations Officer, Bebe di Bebe, new media marketer, turning likes into credit alerts. Sweet babe, running a 9 to 5, yet still turning up for your people. Women are blooming with ideas, thriving in life and business. At Stanbic IBTC, we are cheering you on. Blue Blossom is for women who want to save, invest, and grow in life. Go Bloom with Stanbic IBTC. Stanbic IBTC. Mama, Honorable Duchess of the Market that keeps our belly full, Her Royal Highness, the one that turns hundreds into millions.
Actually curated for every single one of you joining us today. You know, we continue to celebrate women all across the world in the month of March, and this special event was specially curated for the beautiful members of our Blue Blossom community of Stanbic IBTC. So they were gathered to celebrate, to empower, and of course, to educate every one of us, because again, we are talking about inspiring inclusion, but we have specially tagged this event Go Bloom, invest in her. And we promise that the next couple of hours will be well worth your time. Just in case you didn't know, this event was specially curated for you. And so if you're here, whether you're joining physically or you're joining virtually, we have designed everything on the agenda to cater to your needs and to ensure that you meet people, you network, you ask questions. You know, more often than not, we engage from afar with, you know, members of the Blue Blossom community. But we have said, you know what, let's bring everybody close. Some people can't join us physically, so they've joined us virtually. So please, let's celebrate those that are joining us virtually. Give them a round of applause. Hello to everyone joining us virtually. We warmly welcome you to this special event for every special member of the Blue Blossom community. We thank you for making time to be here. You could be anywhere else, but you've chosen to be here with us, and we sincerely thank you from the bottom of our heart. You know, we say that we are, you know, a community. So what's a community without meeting members of that community? So please say hello to the person next to you. Find out their names, what they do. And if you're joining virtually, I promise you're not left out. Just use the chat room of, you know, whatever platform you're joining from. Drop your name, drop what you do. You can also drop, you know, where you're joining from. Your neighbor could be online and you guys could just connect. So please connect with the person sitting next to you. Find out their names, find out what they do, and tell them you're happy to see them. Go a step further and you can compliment them. You can exchange your complimentary cards and just pass a nice compliment to the person sitting next to you. Thank you. In the spirit of connecting, you're wondering, who's this lady speaking? My name is Mojibade Shosoya, and I am a professional compere, a television presenter, and a member of the Blue Blossom community. So I'm truly happy to be here to serve as your compere today. Thank you very much. Now you will realize that everything about the Blue Blossom community speaks to prosperity, speaks to you flourishing, so blossoming. Today we're talking about Go Bloom. So everything is just centered around, you know, making sure that you prosper, making sure that you flourish in all facets of life. Now, our discussions today will explore challenges faced by women in business, but much more than exploring those challenges, we'll be talking about solutions and how we can prosper. You know, all across the world, women have demonstrated resilience in business, in life, at home, through, you know, the several hats that we wear. But yet we still face some unique challenges, and today we'll be talking about those challenges, especially when it comes to women-led enterprises. We're talking about how to address the different challenges that we face. So we do hope that these conversations will help each and every one of us present. And the most important thing today is that we have, you know, our female executives from Stanbic IBTC across all our different subsidiaries. They will be present here. So we get a chance to meet them one-on-one, ask questions after the entire ceremony or even during the ceremony. So you can ask questions, you can network, you can just, you know, pose anything that has been bothering you as a woman to them. You know, woman to woman, we have certain things that we want to ask. So today we get a chance to ask them questions. There's a quote that I saw, and it says, "The strength of a woman is not measured by the impact that all her hardships in life have had on her, but by the extent of her refusal to allow those hardships to dictate her and who she becomes. And that is the power of a woman. Women are very resilient, women are strong, women are fierce, and I'm celebrating every fierce, beautiful, fabulous, phenomenal member of the Blue Blossom community. A round of applause for yourselves, please. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. And if you're joining virtually, we say welcome once again to this special event that was curated just to address all our needs, especially as we celebrate women across the world today. Now, as we go on, ladies, it is my pleasure to officially introduce a phenomenal woman who will do the introductions today and welcome us officially to this event. Please let's give a warm round of applause to the head enterprise banking at Stanbic IBTC, Olajumoke Bello. A round of applause for her, please.
Thank you, Mojibade. Good afternoon, ladies. Apologies for that. Good afternoon once again, ladies. And it's really good to see you here. It's good to have you join us for today's session. And I extend the heartfelt welcome to every one of you, those physically present in the room with us and those joining us virtually online. It's my honor to set the stage for our discussion today. And the topic is one that is of profound importance to all of us here. It's Go Bloom, Invest in Her. We all celebrated the International Women's Day on Friday, 8th of March. And as Mojibade said, the month of March is our month. So we've been celebrated. We're still being celebrated this month. And the theme this year across the globe is Invest in Her, Accelerate Progress. And for me, there have been so many discussions around it in terms of how do we celebrate women, how do we encourage women, how do we support women in terms of their finances, their businesses, their personal growth, women in leadership, education for women, opportunities for women to grow, opportunities for them, inclusion for women. But what I actually find most interesting, or what actually strikes me in that Invest in Her, is how do I focus on me? How do I invest in myself? So not necessarily about how do people, yes, we would need people to invest in us, but how do we also ensure that we are taking those deliberate steps, those decisive actions that we need to ensure that we're getting the right outcomes that would ensure we are thriving, that we are flourishing as women? And that's why we're all here today. So at Stanbic IBTC Bank, at Stanbic IBTC, we firmly believe that investing in women is not just morally imperative, it's also it's just something that we all need to do. It's strategically astute. So when women flourish, when we empower women, we unlock boundless potentials within women that drives growth, not just growth, inclusive growth, and then nations prosper. I mean, we've all heard that when you invest in women, businesses thrive and communities prosper. And that's the beauty of supporting women, of supporting ourselves. So that's why we're here, and that's why we at Stanbic IBTC Bank set up this Blue Blossom community. It's a community that creates a platform for women to connect, women to network, and it provides these resources for women where you can actually engage one another, you can connect to women across the different industries and sectors of the country. And the resources there help you in growing personally and financially from a business perspective. It allows you to look at ways for investing, pension management, insurance, estate planning, educational trust. So those are the resources that are made available to you in the Blue Blossom community. And most especially, the webinar today will afford us this opportunity to engage with the speakers and the speakers and the different panelists that we would have coming to share their knowledge, their own insights, and the advice that they have for us. So this webinar, we'll hear from them. They're experts in the different areas that they cover. And then they will be talking to us, they'll be advising us, and then it's just for us to listen, to take this advice, but not just in terms of the knowledge that we're going to get from it, because it's knowledge without decisive action is nothing. So it's more about the decisive action that comes off after the knowledge that we've heard. So I'm just urging everyone here, both from an individual perspective, investors, financial institutions, it's important that we all invest in her, invest in women, just for the sake of the economic empowerment that it would also give to women. So before I yield the floor to the speakers, I'll just reaffirm Stanbic IBTC's tireless commitment to empowering women. When women succeed, as I said, businesses thrive, communities prosper. So let's seize this moment to drive positive change, dismantle barriers, unlock our potentials, and pave the way forward for future where women will flourish and we ensure an inclusive tomorrow. So to all women, let's embrace our ambition, believe in ourselves, hone our inner skills, and believe in our dreams. Let's give ourselves the opportunity to continue to dream. Stanbic IBTC Bank is ready to support you along the way. Thank you.
Thank you very much, our Executive Director at Stanbic IBTC Bank, Mrs. Olajumoke Bello. Please give her another round of applause. So it was Barack Obama that said, empowering women is not just the right thing to do, it's the smart thing to do. So Stanbic IBTC definitely understands that, because we try every other day to empower our women, especially in the Blue Blossom community, because that's what we want to do, to empower them. Because like it's often said, when you empower a woman, you empower a nation. So when you empower one woman, you can't even imagine the ripple effect of that empowerment. So again, we'd like to thank you for joining us today. We're truly delighted to have you here, and we promise that the next couple of hours will be well worth your time. And to everyone who is joining virtually, thank you for joining us. We're truly happy that you've made time to connect with us today. And everything happening here, you would feel the same energy, the same passion, the same drive as though you were in the room. So again, we say thank you, and please make sure you're connecting in the chat room of the platform you're joining from. Just drop your name, what you do, where you're joining from, and connect virtually with every other virtual participant today. Now, we're going to get straight into our panel conversation, and we're really happy about this conversation. Like we said, it's Go Bloom, invest in her. It's very critical at this point to have those kind of conversations, because we want you to flourish, we want you to prosper in every area of your life. But we've narrowed it down to, businesses and how your businesses can live long and prosper whilst at it. So I will invite our panelists without much further ado. When I invite them, please give them a round of applause. I will invite the Executive Director, Stanbic IBTC Trustees Limited. A round of applause as I make welcome Emi Agaba Oloja. Thank you very much for joining us. I'd like to make welcome the Wealth Manager, Stanbic IBTC Asset Management Limited, Shola Oshunfison. A round of applause for her, please. We have Ifeoluwa Adegoke, who is also known as Money Talks with Ife. A round of applause for her. Thank you very much for joining us. Modupe Banjoko, the Team Lead Digital and Enablement at IBTC. A round of applause for her. The Regional Manager, Business Development, Stanbic IBTC Pension Manager Limited, Olabisi Umaru. A round of applause for her. We'll be having a very good time today, and I promise you, we can't wait to get into this conversation. And to moderate this powerful conversation, I'll be introducing a phenomenal woman, a powerful compare, international, Excellent. Phenomenal. Mojibade Shosonya. That's myself. You see, the thing is, we men, we must learn to toot our own horns. Do we get it? All right, so it's my pleasure to wear my second hat for today. Apart from being your compere, I'll also be, steering this powerful conversation that we have tagged Go Bloom, Invest in Her. Hello, ladies. Thank you for joining me. Are we excited, super pumped, ready to dish out knowledge to our blue blossom women who are ready to learn? All right, let's get started. So I'm going to start my first question and address it to Modupe, who is the team lead of digital enablement at Stanbic IBTC Bank. Now, we talk about building businesses to last generations, and what we find out is, more often than not, men are able to do this very seamlessly. Women seem to have a couple of challenges with this. My question to you is, what do you think are the challenges that women face when we're talking about building long-lasting businesses? That's part one of that question. And how do you think women-led businesses can be supported to thrive and expand even beyond the founders', dreams, even beyond her generation, pretty much? Over to you.
Thank you for the question. And to our fellow clients, colleagues, good afternoon, everyone, and to my panelists as well, good afternoon. I think time will not permit me to do justice to that question, so I'll try my best to narrow it down to two areas, focus areas for us. I think the first one is formalizing your business, and the second one is asset. And I think the buzzword, as we all know it, is collateral. And I'll do my best to just try and bring in some stories, just to see how, it can be practical for us. So to have a going concern business, Standard Bank, IBTC, Stanbic IBTC is a member of Standard Bank Group, and we're over 160 years old business. So for a business to remain going concern, because that's pretty much the standard we're looking at, that business must be formalized. So when we look at even within the bank and you look at what we have in CAC today, we have women, because I'm of the school of thought that the largest share of the businesses today are women-owned and led. But have we formalized those businesses? And in cases where we formalized it, whose name is on the document? And when I mean formalized, I'm talking about registering your business. Because today, there's no way you can expand and not have a partnering bank. You can't come to a bank today to say, I have built this business and require, is it financial support? Those things immediately start to disqualify you, because what the bank will be asking is it a registered business? Let's see your CAC. This is how could I'll try my best.
You can use this.
These are requirements that need to be in place. For a going concern business, if we say we want to be on the stock exchange, they're not going to ask, is this am I just doing this informally? So that's one key area. Formalizing your business also helps you put business structures in place such that it's not a one-man business. If something happens, recently, and, our condolences, but two men had a dream and started a business. You can imagine if that business wasn't formalized. What are we going to be talking about today? That means that business would cease to exist. So that's what formalizing a business is. It's not only to help you get assets, access to finance, it also helps you put in those pillars and structures in place such that that business remains a going concern business. And the bank does this in many ways. Capacity building, we're learning today. I'll take us back some 10 years ago, more than 10 years, because I remember, I wasn't married then. We had a small master class where some women came together. There was this particular client, and I think she was fortunate that during that particular session, there were a lot of leaders in the industry. You're talking Malas today when we talk about catering. We're talking ruffle and tumble, in that meeting, and various women. And at that time, she supplies for some, in terms of gift items, and she does for some multinationals. But she got the training. When she got the training she needed, a lot of the raw material she was importing, she now put this business structure in place where she bought the machinery she required and was able to start producing locally. Her business grew because for us, it's about partnering for growth in Stanbic IBTC. Her business grew such that she became the regional procurement personnel for then Etisalat, West Africa. This was the #1 person. This is a customer today that we still bank that has moved from our SME business to commercial business. Where am I going with this story? Something happened during that time. I still can't remember what it was, but she couldn't import. She had so much structure in her business. She went to then MTN and told them, instead of me getting you branded t-shirts, generic, that you use for your foundation, I'm going to make you Ankara shirts. She had the machineries in place. She knew the process. She knew what it took to get that system going. And she created the sample. They sent it out of the country. They vetted and came back, and she got that job. And that's what putting structure in place, working with a bank like us would help you get to, such that that business is going concern. The second one is collateral. Just be mindful of time. So today, for that lady, when she goes, it will get to a point where you can't fund a business with your money. Debt has to come in. And that's where assets comes in. I mean, I know there are nuances again in our markets today because, when will is read, in some parts of the town, the woman's name doesn't even feature on property. It's the men's world. But those are those conversations we need to happen. Today in Stanbic IBTC, I can tell you for free that we have non-collateral, loan offering. I can even tell you for free that we have a particular offering called Blue Blossom Easy Cash, such that you can get up to 5 million naira, zero collateral. But for a going concern business in today's world, how far would that get you? Because when that multinational comes, are you ready? So that's why, we take time to explain that these things are important to have, because it will get to that time where you would need to pledge those assets because your business has grown. Real quickly, I'll share again another story, but I'm going to reverse it because it doesn't then mean that if no collateral, we wouldn't do business with you. Last year, we were privileged, myself and line manager, the pretty line manager. Please clap for our line manager. Even though last year we met a client, and this particular client does business in the high fashion area. They make clothes. And they've been trading for over 20 years experience, started outside the country, and felt that they wanted to come in and make an impact. So they've been trading here, and they had another bank. But they needed to expand. They had an opportunity, a breakthrough, like I like to call it, to have their business, to have their personal wares being sold out of one of the #1, retail outlets in the world. Harrods. I mean, if anybody has an item in Harrods, I mean, that's literally a breakthrough. But when everywhere they were going and where they were banking, the conversation is you do not have any assets to back this kind of finance that you require. I mean, we all know if you're selling or retailing out of Harrods, in England, it's not going to be small money, especially if your goods, again, are high-end. But we sat down with the clients. We sat down, we had to figure it out because we saw the business. So why am I saying this? I'm saying this, yes, to say that today we will look at those businesses because the cash flow and the contracts you have will show us where the funds are coming. But it's quite critical because it would also get to another stage where they would grow to if they start, stocking in England, in UAE, in other countries, in Asia, such that they would need to put some skin in the game. And that's where those assets will come in. So I think for for us in closing is just to say that these two things are critical things in terms of ensuring. So I tried to balance the question in terms of what it is and what we need to do to ensure that, we put in those structures and have businesses that would remain going concern. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Modupe. Please let's give her a better round of applause. Thank you. So she's talked about formalizing your business and investing in assets that can help you back up, because at some point you will need to, get debt to grow your business and expand it. And what I often realize, honestly, is that women have some profitable businesses, but just because there's no structure, it doesn't outlive the founder. And what we really want for our business is that when we are far gone, the prayers that we live to good old age, when we are far gone, that the businesses will still outlive us and live for generations to come. So thank you for talking about those two critical points. We'll move on now to our next question and our next speaker, and I'll be addressing Shola Oshofison, who is a wealth manager at Stanbic IBTC Asset Management Limited. Now, I do recognize that women have financial goals, and there are specific investment vehicles that align well with those financial goals. My question is, how can women leverage investments to acquire more assets to scale their businesses in a way that, again, it outlives their generation? I love that she's talked about collateral and then investing in assets. So how can we leverage investments to acquire more assets that would help us and our businesses to outlive generations?
All right, thank you very much. Yes, women have a lot of goals. And for example, we have financial goals. Women have business goals. Women have goals around their family. They have goals around their relaxation goals. So, because relaxing is not a crime. If you want to relax, you want to slay, let me use the word slay, you need to have the goals. So it's important to plan for those things. And it's important that while planning, and my colleague mentioned the fact that assets are important. What are the things you need to put in place to achieve those goals? For example, you have a business goal. Every time your business makes money, you have some funds you need to put aside, which you can call the reserve fund. It's not every time in the year that some businesses are on high. Sometimes the time might come, maybe you're into food, there might be high moments, there might be low moments. But if you have a reserve fund, something you put aside every time you sell or make a profit, towards the time when when it's not raining day, when you need more resource, or when you need maybe a collateral asset that can help you have access to loans or other things, you can put those funds aside. We have numerous investment options available. But I'll mention just a few for this audience. We are available to, of course, talk to you one-on-one to guide you as individuals. So one of the things we have is mutual funds, and I will start with the Naira mutual funds. We have what we call the money market fund. That is able to help you put funds in bits. You might be getting businesses on weekly basis, daily basis. You can put a portion of your profits into that fund as a reserve fund. And you can split it into different things. One is probably towards your financial obligations and future. One can be towards maybe your children's school fees. One could be also because I'm saving towards this particular maybe relaxation thing. Put something aside in those funds. And there is a Naira mutual funds, money market fund. You are able to get good returns in double digits that can help you, so that it helps you discipline yourself. So that, because if money is in your bank account, with an ATM swipe, you bring it out. But in the investment account, you are not tempted to touch it when there's an urgent need, because it's targeted towards a particular goal. You can put it monthly, weekly, or as often as you want. That's the Naira end. And you can split it. The beautiful thing is I can decide to open like multiple accounts for different goals. I target this as maybe my air goals, right? I want to fund my air dreams. Maybe I want to do this. Or mine could be that my travel, I like to travel once a year or twice a year, or maybe once in 5 years. I start saving towards that goal and put the funds there. Oh, I want to ensure that I expand my business. Maybe I have only one store. I want to increase it to 3 or 4 stores. I need to put something aside so that I can help my expansion need as a woman. That's very critical. In terms of dollars, too, some of us earn in dollars. A lot of people are working remotely, doing a lot of things, and they earn in dollars. Or they also have expenses in dollars, or foreign currencies. If you have those funds there, you can put those funds in what we call our dollar fund. It's earning currently over 7.5% return per annum. We can't get that easily anywhere. What can you do? Put the funds there. Is it monthly you have the monies? Is it quarterly? Anytime it comes. And the good thing is that the minimum is in fact, there's no minimum. As low as $100, you can put some monies there. Keep earning on it. and you get good rates on those funds. There are numerous funds or options I can mention, but I want to mention the similar to those two. If you have funds, you are making money from your business, you're making money from your salaries, please put something aside for the rainy day. Very important. Put something, no matter how small or little, you can put there, and you achieve your goals. By so doing, also training your children, because your children see what you're doing. And I know that family is very important to women, oftentimes. When they see that mommy is putting something aside, they say, Mama, can I put something aside too? You are letting them know, you are teaching them, but you cannot teach them what you are not doing yourself. So it's important to create that discipline of putting funds aside for the future, for any day. It might be a 5-year goal, it might be a plan for 2 years, it might be a plan for 3 months. Don't just wake up and meet up to it. And I would like to say a story. I've said it before. Though it was when I was working back about 19 years ago. I was working in the commercial bank then. There's one guy that comes to the branch every day to deposit. He was a conductor. Every day he would come and put 500 naira. Some days 1,000 naira. I was asking, what's this boy doing? Every day he was putting money aside. You know, I asked him, what do you do? He said he's a conductor. Why? He said he wants to go to school. So every day when he's better buying roundabouts and buying all these things, he's spending their money or taking things they should not take. This guy was putting money, walking to the branch every day, putting 500, some days 1,000. There was a day, because I asked him when we didn't see him for a week, what happened? He said, oh, maybe he couldn't work, he was not feeling well, and that's why he could not bring the money. And he had a goal. If a conductor, a bus conductor that was a teenager, could save towards a goal, why can't you save towards a goal? Why can't you train your children to save towards goals? No goal. The guy wanted to go to school. I'm sure he's doing very well now. He was focused daily, putting the money aside towards that goal. But I know you can do better. Beyond putting it in a bank account, sitting at idle, you can get double-digit interest rate and grow your funds. Achieve your goals. Meet your needs at every point in time so that you can say, oh, I saved towards this goal. I was able to achieve this goal. And of course, we are here to help you achieve that goal. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I love that she ended by saying we're here to help you, because again, this is Blue Blossom community. Every member here, and what happens in the community is support. You know, you have someone's shoulder to lean on, and so she says they're here to help. So after this panel session, we'll throw it open to everyone in the audience and to everyone joining virtually. You're able to ask your questions, and if you still feel like, you know, you have some pressing further questions, you can ask after we are done with the session. So thank you very much, Shola Oshofisam. I'll move on to Amy Agaba Oloja, who is Executive Director, Stanbic IBTC Trustees Limited. This question, you know, might appear a little sensitive, especially for women. Generally, even men, you know, pull back when you talk about estate planning, because when you start talking about will and estate, people are like, I don't want to die. I'm not going to die. When people ask you about wills and estate planning, just assume that they're asking you about your dying date. It's not about that. It's about just preparing. But I'll allow Amy answer this question, which I'll pose to her. So what are the challenges faced by women when it comes to estate planning, and how can these challenges be overcome? So it's a 2-in-1 question. What are the challenges faced by women when it comes to estate planning? That's part one. Then how can we, you know, pragmatically overcome these challenges? Over to you, Amy.
Thank you, Mojibade, and good afternoon, everyone. So it's important that we talk about this thing, because for everything under the sun, there's a time to be born and there's a time to DIE. So PEMEC, BICU, transitors, delete, whatever they call it, there's a time to actually die. But we will not die young. People didn't say amen. We will live to see our children's children, to eat the fruit of our labor. However, it's important that we plan. One of the things that happens to women most often is that they're over-reliant on their spouses. Some women don't even know anything, any money matter. No, talk to my spouse, anything. They're just over-reliant. The essence of this session, like they said, is a community. We're here to educate you and to tell you how you can do certain things. A lot of women have a lot of assets. Some of the assets we have, we wear them. Jewelry, things, all sorts of, they're still assets. You can exchange it for money, it's an asset. So it's important that not only do we know what we have, we know where they are held, and in what title it is also held. That's another mistake a lot of people make, especially women. Your spouse buys you a gift, example, a car. It is not in your name, it is in his name. That asset is not your own. You are just using it. However, the ownership of that asset is in whoever has purchased it. So for you to have an asset, title is an essential thing. With real estate, you see a lot of women, their spouses and them have joint accounts or joint investments, and it is in Mr. and Mrs., their surname. Please, ladies, open your eyes. Mr., his name, Mrs., your name. It is important because, as somebody was saying to us last week, that Mrs. can be anybody. But it's important, the essence of all this education that we're explaining is for you to be deliberate and intentional. Understand the assets that you do have. There are a lot of things people spend money on that they don't even know. Understand the assets you do have. Understand where they are at. Don't be over-reliant. I'm not saying don't trust and put your hope in somebody, but you need to be able to understand the basics for yourself and be financially independent, which is why we're educating you. Some of the ways you can put in place an estate plan. What is an estate plan? Is to ensure that all the assets you're working for is put into a structure and you can conserve this and transfer it. Most of us as women, our major priority is the children before the husband. There's no offense in it because that's how we are. You carry the children for 9 months and you know how it is. So it's important that you safeguard these children. Now also safeguard yourselves by putting in place structures, one of which is that you can write a will. What is a will? It's just a simple document that stipulates what you have and where they're at and your intentions for who you want to benefit from. Now, beneficiaries are different from next of kin. Most people will say, what's next of kin? Next of kin is only for contact details. Beneficiary is who you choose to inherit. So we have what we call the simple will. It's a simple document pre-drafted. All you will be doing is nominating or appointing Stanbic IBTC trustees as corporate executors. It can cover your personal bank accounts. It will cover the balances in your mutual funds and also your retirement savings account if you're in paid employment. What that does is that if anything happened, your executors will go through the probate process, get those assets out, and distribute in line with what you have stated clearly. Now, you cannot nominate a minor and give something to a minor without having a trustee in the mix. So when we started out back many years, our simple will form, we started out as a group in the organization, and women were putting their 2-year-olds and putting their children. And you ask them why, they say, no, please, I want to put my children because my husband, if anything happens now, he'll go and marry another wife. But the truth is, they're nominating those children, and the provisions in that simple will is that if anything happened and the child is assigned an asset or an amount, a trust is created for the education and health of that child so that there's no worry about having to deal any issues when you're not around. Another thing that is important is if you have other assets, jewelry, shoes, bags, anything that you consider of value, you can write a comprehensive will. What that does is that you put in your assets, stipulate what it is, how your wishes exactly specific, and your executors will deal that. It's also important that we take out life insurance policies. There's this sunset funeral plan. You take out a life insurance on yourself. And when you take out the life insurance on yourself, you're able to add your spouse, even without their knowledge, because you are the one taking out the policy. You can add anyone. You can add your dependents. You can add your parents. Now, the essence is when death occurs to anyone, they pay you for the insurance policy. You pay your premiums, and for 5 years, you pay. After 5 years, you don't pay anything, and when death occurs, they pay you. The reason is that when death occurs, especially to anybody around the woman is the last thing on any woman's mind when somebody has passed, especially his spouse, is to be thinking of where things are. But you see that people move these things out, so it's important that you safeguard yourself. Take out an insurance policy on yourself, nominate, have the beneficiaries that you want named, so you can name your children as beneficiary. It's also important for organizations that have group life insurance policies that they ensure individuals, staff, fill out the beneficiary declaration forms. Because what pension is saying is that if an individual or an organization has staff, they are mandated by law to put out what's called a group life insurance policy, such that if an individual died in service, I'm smiling now because I was speaking at a session and I said died in service, and a gentleman raised up his hand and said, must he die at his desk to qualify for group life, just in case they're rushing into the hospital. I say, no, not hospital, MD's desk, so that he dies there. No, as far as you're in the employment of that organization, you qualify for group life if you die in service. Now, the thing about this group life is that it pays up to 3 times your total emolument. So assuming your total emolument is 20 million, 20 times 3 is 60 million. In some industries, the oil and gas is up to 5 times insurance company will pay. So you can imagine who gets that money. You can set up what's called an education trust, strictly for the education of your children. There are no diversions of funds for the school fees, payments, and education-related expenses for each of your children. Now, you can nominate that education trust as a beneficiary for group life, so that if anything happens, that lump sum money is not given to one person. And if the children are minors, those monies go into the education trust and is utilized for the education of their children. Just to round up, and in closing, it is important as women, we need to be intentional. You need to be intentional. I need to be intentional. Gone are the days when you're waiting for somebody to come and be looking after you. We're all working because we need to put ourselves and our children. God forbid anything happens. You will now be looking for who will be helping you. Everybody's looking for contributions, but you need to be able to stand by your own self, stand on your own 2 feet, learn the things you need to do, and do what is important, and leave a legacy that your children and the rest of the world will be very proud of. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Amy. That was robust. Thank you for providing context to, the estate planning and wills and all that come with it. Thank you so much. I'll move on to Olabisi now. When we talk about retirement, more often than not, people get anxious about retirement, especially when you don't have a solid or standard pension plan, in place. So my question to you, Olabisi, is how can we use pension to ensure longevity and succession in business whilst we're planning to retire well?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Mujibadi, for that question. Okay, so talking about longevity in retirement, and this is something that for me is also very important, because in the course of my years, I've had to, I'm at that point now where you see quite a number of people, retiring. My parents have retired. I've also gotten to see, uncles and aunts retire. And something that has, struck me is the importance of, actually planning ahead for retirement. I've seen in this, from experience in this part of the world, that when it comes to retirement, it's something that people rarely think about when it comes to pensions. And probably it's because people don't really understand, what the whole pension thing is about. There have been stories in the past, about how the pension industry has been in Nigeria. We've heard so many stories of maybe retirees, lining up, dying at the point of trying to access their pensions, and people not being able to access it, and then that has created a lot of skepticism in the industry and in the minds of people, so people don't really understand it. But the truth about it is that if there's anything that is certain, which, just like my colleague Amy has said, it's that life would happen. I still see a lot of, young faces, as it were, in the room today. And the truth is that this period of our lives where we are still able to work, accumulate wealth, accumulate assets, as we've spoken about, is something we need to really take important. Now, retirement, oftentimes, again, people leave towards the end. People would say, I'm still young. For most of us who are business owners, at this point, we are focused on growing our business. And so retirement still seems far. But, life every day passes by. And then one day we wake up and realize that, oh, wow, where did all the time go to? And then at 2-3 years to maybe a certain age that we have earmarked for retirement, you are frantic and thinking, how do I go about it? And so really, it's important that, for each and every one of us, we start thinking about retirement. In fact, the best time to start thinking and planning for retirement is actually from when you land, your first job. But even if, your time has gone by, it's never too late to get started. And the reason is just because we're talking about longevity in retirement. The truth is that it will be rather sad, for most of us, maybe while we're working or, running our businesses, we've accustomed ourselves to a certain way of life, to certain lifestyles. We're already used to probably eating certain types of food. You're used to going to certain places. And, it won't be something nice that when, we now get advanced in years, or when the time comes for us to actually be able to say, okay, what, I think I've done my bit, I want to relax, then you are unable to afford, some of those things that you've been accustomed to while you are living. And then you would see a lot of retirees, even right now, struggling. And more so for us, even as women, it's much more important because, at times as women, we also often feel as natural as they need to want to, sacrifice at times, give up our dreams, just to ensure that, maybe the husband succeeds, our children go well, and then we put ourselves, back. So what we're saying today when it comes to longevity, when it comes to retirement planning, is that it's something we need to be deliberate and intentional about. Now, already, should I say, the government has made it easy for us to even begin to think, and plan towards retirement. We've spoken today about so many things. We've spoken about assets. We've spoken about investment. The truth about it is that your pension plan is actually one of your assets. It's something that you need to think about. And that is because it's something that affords you the opportunity to be able to sustain your way of life, when you get advanced and you no longer have the strength to work. And so you don't want to be in a situation whereby, even as a business owner, we see so many business owners working till the very end. When the time comes to be able to say, okay, at this point, let me hand over the business, maybe to the next generation, someone else, people are scared, to go on retirement just because they are not prepared. We don't need to be in that, situation. That is why we're here, and that is why it's important that from today we start taking the steps that we need towards, planning for our retirement. Now, for some of us already, we may have retirement savings accounts in place. In fact, a retirement savings account by law in Nigeria, it's actually mandatory. So if you are in an organization where you have at least a minimum of 3 employees, by law, we're expected that that organization, sets up a pension plan for the members of that, organization. Now, one of the things that also does, so peradventure you are here, you have your business, and you are more than 3 people already in that business. One of the things it also does is to help, in terms of succession in the business, because the truth is that nowadays everybody's looking for more, and the pension plan is actually something that can help in terms of providing welfare, as it were, for your employees. And so where your organization is even able to offer that, to employees to show that, I have interest in you, I have interest in your future, tendencies are, you are able to still retain the best talent to work in your organization and help your business to grow. But if you're already working in an organization where you have a pension account already, which is called a retirement savings account, I would like to encourage you to actually be more deliberate about it. Pay attention to it. A lot of people don't pay attention to it. For some people, they just know there's this amount that goes out every month. It goes somewhere. Whether it comes every month, they really don't care. And it's important we care, so that we're not those people that are working, and at the end of the day, you've worked for certain years in an organization, and then you decide to leave one day and realize that there's nothing in your pension account because they have not been remitting. We want to pay attention to it. Now, even beyond paying attention to it, is to now ask yourself to say, what actually goes into this account, every month? And then look at it vis-a-vis, your plan for retirement. You need to ask yourself certain questions like, what are my plans? What kind of life would I want for myself? Would I want for my, family when I retire? And then begin to take, conscious steps to say, with what I'm presently contributing or putting into this account, is it going to be sufficient to fund my lifestyle, when I retire? And to make this, it might look a bit complex, but actually make it easy for you to figure it out. I'd like to encourage us, for as many of us who already have maybe existing pension accounts with Stanbic IBTC, we do have something called a pension calculator on our website, or if you even have a mobile app downloaded, you can use it. It's a powerful tool that can help you do the simulation, help you see from what you're contributing now, what age would you like to retire, how much would you like to retire with. It helps you to, be able to understand what you need to start putting aside to meet that retirement goal. And peradventure, you're probably, self-employed, you're running your own business. It's still an opportunity for you to plan towards retirement. Nobody is left out. It's even more important for you as a business owner to pay yourself. And part of paying yourself, is opening a pension account for yourself. We also have our Future Me plan in Stanbic IBTC, which is tailored for people who are self-employed. And with the Future Me plan, which is very easy to open, on our website also, you can open a pension account and be deliberate, still using that same calculator to look at it to say, where exactly would I want to be, and then figure out how much would be required for you to put into that account every month to meet your retirement goals. Now, the good thing is you don't need to be a financial guru. You don't need to be in terms of investment savvy to say, how do you invest? What do I invest in? We already have a team in-house that can help you do that. So that even already takes away that stress from you. Yours is to take advantage of, what is called compounding interest, which is eventually what this is all about. It's about you putting your little bits into this account every month, being consistent and disciplined about it, and then watching how the power of compounding interest can actually help you grow your little, bucket into a very big ocean when the time comes. But it does come with being intentional, and it does come with being deliberate. And now another advantage of even having this plan for yourself. Some of my colleagues, today, have alluded to different types of, investments and assets and things you can do. The beauty of also having this pension plan or pension account for yourself is that should you need somewhere down the line to get a mortgage, which is like a property for yourself, with the guidelines now available in the industry, it's possible for you to use your pension account as towards the acquisition of a mortgage. So should you be looking at maybe property for yourself, property for your business, provided you meet the requirements stated in that guidelines, you can use your pension account can actually become an asset, a tool for you to help you, acquire that dream. The truth about it is we don't need to be scared about retirement. Retirement is something that, we can look forward to with deliberate steps that we start taking today. And even should you want to add to what you're currently doing, if you're already remitting into your account, pension account, you feel that looking at this thing, I have another like maybe 10 years or 15 years ahead of me, or 20 years, I think, okay, it's viable for me to work. And with what I'm presently doing, I don't think, 20 years down the line, looking at even what is happening now, inflation, the way the economy is, I'm not sure, this will take me to where I want to be. It's as simple as, reaching out to, if you're in a formal organization, maybe like Stanbic IBTC, you reach out to your payroll or your HR and let them know what you like to do as additional every month. And like I've said, the power of compounding interest can take you little as 5,000 naira or 10,000 naira every month. You'll be amazed at what that would amount to in another 10 years, in another 20 years, as, when the time comes. So I'll just like to, wrap it up to say that, look, when we're talking about longevity, both for ourselves, both for our businesses, one of the critical things is for us to be intentional, be deliberate about it. The truth is that anything you don't plan for or you don't work towards, you cannot achieve it. And that is why sessions like this are actually very important to help us see and understand that a lot of these things are actually around us. It's just for us to be able to put, the right, as they say, put the square pegs, in the square holes, exactly. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Olabisi. Thank you. I think one thing that has, cut across board amongst all our panelists so far, don't worry, Faye, I'm coming to you. I haven't forgotten you, is that we have to be deliberate, we have to be intentional, because a lot of times as women, we take so many things for granted, we just that it's not necessary now, and time is going, and we do need our male counterparts are doing these things deliberately and intentionally. So these conversations will help us to take deliberate steps, whether it's for your business, for pension plan, for estate planning, for anything at all that you want to do in achieving financial goals. So Ife Oluwadegoke, I'm here with you. Ife is also called Money Talks with Ife. So very good fit for this conversation. The relationship with money, especially with the current female generation, has changed when you juxtapose it with, Gen Z, millennials versus Gen X and the baby boomers. I fall into Gen Z. I don't ask for my age. I choose to identify as a Gen Z. And, our goals are very different from the older generation. So we have goals like we want to travel, we want to buy a car, we want to buy a house in Lekki Phase 1. Our eyes are quite big. We have those kind of goals. My question to you is, how can you set a realistic financial plan? I mean, the key word there being realistic. How can you set a realistic financial plan? Even so, I'm sure that people in the room, cut across different generations. We have Gen Zs, millennials, we have the Gen X and maybe baby boomers in the room, but just across, how you set a realistic financial plan and how can you achieve it? So Keyword there being realistic. How are you able to set a realistic financial plan, and how are you able to achieve it? When we are done, I will take another round of questions from my panelists, and then we'll come into the audience, because this is not just a talk show. We want to interact with people in the audience, and for everyone joining virtually. So please prepare your questions. It could be based off what we've talked about, or things that we haven't even touched on and you're interested in as it concerns investing in her, which is our theme for today. So please get your questions ready. We are eager and anticipating those questions. Ife, over to you.
Thank you so much, Mujibade, for that question. So the first thing I would like to do is define what a financial plan is. So a financial plan is basically your financial map. And I believe we all have Google Map on our phones, right? Do we use Google Map? Okay, fantastic. All right, so what does a map do? It gives you the direction that will get you from point A to point B, right? So the same way, your financial plan is your map that shows you how you can get yourself from where you are currently in your finances to where you're looking to be. All right, so I know that we are just about 3 months into the year, and at the beginning of the year, we all set financial goals, we set business goals, we set this goal, that goal. But one thing I have found in my interaction with people is that oftentimes, even before the 3rd month of the year, we've abandoned those goals, and it looks like they are not achievable. I have found that one significant reason why those goals are not achievable, or you've abandoned them, or you're not working towards them, is because they were not realistic in the first place, focusing on the word that Mujibade used. And for a financial plan to be realistic, to be achievable for you, there are 3 things that you must clarify. The first thing is you must be very certain and clear on where you are currently in your finances. So a lot of people, when they want to write down their goals, they just pick numbers off the top of their head. They pick dreams. I mean, your dreams are valid, right? I have big goals, I have big dreams as well. But there is a place of looking at where you are standing. The same way when you want to use that map, remember, that Google map, it will first pinpoint where you're standing, right? Before it can give you the best route to where you're looking to go. So the same way, when you're about to maybe create your financial plan, look at what is currently happening in my finances. Where is my money going? How am I spending it? How much is going towards my rent? How much is going towards feeding? How much is going towards transportation? What can I afford to put aside? Either towards retirement, either towards lifestyle, you want to travel the world. What can I afford to put towards these goals? And when you are able to answer these important questions, your financial plan starts to form. It becomes clearer. You know the exact capacity that you have, that you can start from to get you to where you're looking to go. All right? So let me give you an example. So somebody says, oh, I want to save by the end of 2024, I want to have 5 million naira in savings. All right? But you forget to look at your current cost of living and take into account your income, right? So by the time, say, you're earning 700,000 naira, and with your current lifestyle standard of living, you spend an average of 500,000 naira every month. So just doing that math, how much realistically would that person be able to save? Anybody in the audience? If you're saving 200,000 naira per month, 2.4, thank you very much. All right, so that goal of 5 million becomes unachievable, looking at the timeline that you set for yourself. That's why I said it is important for you to acknowledge where you're starting from. And I'll say dream big. I also dream big, but what differentiates people that are just dreamers from goal achievers is this particular point I just shared with you. Acknowledging where you are at. There's nothing wrong with that. Even let's say, for example, you're still in debt. Acknowledge that and start to build up from there to where you're looking to get to. So the next part of setting or creating a solid financial plan is now that you're clear on where you're at and you have your goal has to be clear as well, right? Is it specific? Give a timeline to it. Don't just let it be a dream in your head, right? And the third step I would like to share is something that would take you from just dreaming about it, beg your pardon, dreaming about it to actually achieving it. And that is creating actionable steps. So I see this often, right? You want to, if I want to buy my first house, I want to buy my first car, I want to sponsor my child abroad in the next 2 years. The question I ask is how, right? So a lot of people stop on the what I want, and they forget the how. For you in your personal finance, you have to be able to sit down and create the how. So how are you going to achieve that goal? How are you going to make it feasible for yourself? So for example, say I have a goal of retiring at age 40, as an example. The first thing, looking at retirement planning that we've talked about, like the previous speaker said, is looking at where you are at and where the kind of lifestyle you want to have at that age. So how much do you need to retire at age 40? Say you need 50 million. So the next question I'll be asking you is, how do you plan to make that 50 million a reality? So that is what a financial plan does for you. Either your savings goal, your lifestyle goals, your investment goals, your retirement goal, whatever goal it is. You want your kids to have the best life, you have business goals. These simple tips will help you go from just daydreaming about something to making them substantial, that you can achieve them, realistic for you to touch, feel, and experience, right? So another thing that is important when it comes to financial planning is considering your time horizon. When you set a goal of 5 million, for that example I gave earlier, a goal of 5 million for the year, 5 million is not impossible for you. But by the time you do your calculation, you see that you can only do 2.4 in 12 months. So there's nothing wrong in either increasing your timeline so that can become realistic, or increasing your capacity. So when you're creating your financial plan, always work with a timeline. Timeline is very, very important. Timeline will give you a target. Timeline will give you a clearer picture. And another tip I would also like to share, moving on from timeline, is always think in numbers, right? You want to travel, have a vacation this year. There is an amount that is going to cost you. So instead of just writing, you want to travel, find out how much it's going to cost you and put it there. So that number is a goal for you, is a target that you have in front of you, and it's clearer. Okay, I need 5 million to travel this year. Now you know how much money you need to make that goal a realistic, beg your pardon, a reality. Thank you so much. To make that goal a reality, right? So you want to send your child abroad to school. How much is the school fees? How much do you need to put aside per year for that to become a reality? So this thinking in numbers, thinking in time, in terms of timeline, and it helps you have a clearer target. So for me, one of the things I love to do a lot is helping people figure out, okay, this whole process that we are talking about, going from point A to point B. And the first thing we always do is everything I've shared with you. The first thing is looking at where they are currently. That's where we started from, right? Look at where you are. Do you have debt? Do you have too much black tax? How many percentage of your income is even going to, sister, I need urgent 5K. Uncle, I need, madam, please help me with urgent 50K. How much of your finances is going towards that? So once you look at these things and you have a clearer picture of your finances, the next step I shared with us was to have a goal, clearer goal, what you want to do, be specific about it. I also shared the importance of timeline, all right? I also shared the importance of, what was the thing I shared? Numbers. Thank you. I wanted to get a feedback from the audience, right? So numbers, important, very important. You want to think in terms of numbers when you are thinking about money. Always, how much is the question to ask? I hope we've found that helpful.
Thank you very much, Ife. One of the things you subtly mentioned is that, whilst you're doing this, you can also increase your capacity. So it's okay to have another stream of income if you want to, meet a particular goal. You just touched on it, and I really like that, because I know that women, we have audacious goals that we set. We also like to go hard. Women are very resilient. We can dream and we can pursue those dreams. So it's okay to expand your capacity to, earn more, but don't overwork yourself. But it's okay to expand your capacity to earn more. Please give my panelists a round of applause. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, so I'm going to come back to you, Modupe. And this question, I'm asking everyone the same question, and it's a very interesting question. We do have, when I say we, I'm talking about women, we have a lot of misconceptions about money, right? And sometimes we can call them myth about money. What myth do you think we have as women that you would like to dispel today? Money myth that we have and we think and you like to dispel.
Okay, so I think the money myth, and I know it's not applicable here, but in general, you do kind of get it, because it's just around, your money is not safe in the bank. I was in a session last week. It was a Women World Banking session, and a gentleman from another financial bank came up, and he demonstrated it and said, we're having issues with financial inclusion because women would rather keep that, literally just get up and that's how he did it. And we had to tell him to be a little bit coy around how he positioned that. And why am I saying this? We're a 160-year-old and going business. And I think a critical, area of conduct for us is doing business the right way. Very, very critical. So I think for me, it's just to say that while that myth is there, Stanbic IBTC is that trusted partner that you want to work with. And like I mentioned earlier, it's not just around just doing business. It's about supporting and partnering for growth. But before we do that, we must and we will do business the right way. So I hope people, that myth will change, knowing that there are some trusted partner. Well, let me now say some. This is a trusted partner that you can do business with, and your money will be safe. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I'd like to just assume that everyone here, first of all, has a Stanbic IBTC bank account. And taking it a step further, is that your money is definitely safe with Stanbic IBTC, right? Yes? That yes is like 2/10. 10/10, yes? Right, great. All right, over to you, Olabisi.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mojibade. Okay, so for me, I would, another thing I think myth that people have about money is really, I'm also going to tailor this down with respect to retirement. It's that maybe my children are my retirement goals. And yes, while it's good to invest, in our children, they are definitely the future. But, you cannot, decide to put all your eggs, upon it. Because the truth is that whether we like it or not, our children will grow to have their own lives, they have their own dreams, they have their own aspirations. And it's important that we also empower ourselves, to be able to have the kind of life we want in retirement. And so just like we've said, today, is that fact that you can actually have the dream life you want for yourself. You may not be there yet. You may feel like you're still far from it, but we've established the fact that with intentional planning from today, measuring where you are and looking at where you'd want to be, you can figure out, the difference and start taking those steps today towards ensuring, the kind of life you want for yourself when you do retire. And so, yes, while people will say, yes, my children are my future, they are my retirement plan, they are my hope. It's good to invest in our children, but let's take it beyond that. Let's not be those kind of, mothers or guardians that at the end of the day will want to weigh and put all the burden, on our children. We can actually dream towards leaving a legacy behind. You can think about even giving to the next generation, putting more. And that would only be possible when we become deliberate about, planning towards our retirement. And we can start today if, even if we haven't, started doing that yet. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Olabisi. I think that's a very valid point. Yes, invest in your children by all means, go all out and ensure that they have the right education, that they're okay. But also remember to invest in yourself and plan for your retirement when the time comes. Thank you so much. All right, Amy, I'm back to you. What is that one money myth you like to dispel today, especially as it concerns women?
Thank you, Mojibade. So for me, the myth I want to dispel is that you don't have to have plenty money before you can start investing. Most times people think that until I get a particular figure, so until I start earning 1 million, I will not invest. That 10,000 naira you have, 5,000 is the minimum amount you can put into for a mutual fund. And like Shola had mentioned, the power of compounding, it begins to grow. So let's be deliberate and intentional. Another reason why you don't really need to have so much is because as you grow and as your income increases, your tastes will increase. There are certain things you will not do because now you have money. Before growing up, I remember my first job, it was CMS. I went to go and buy skirt and blouse under the bridge. But now I won't go there. But the truth is, as your income rises, your expenses will rise and catch up with it. So let's be deliberate and intentional. From whatever we do have, set aside. We need to be intentional and set aside and watch it grow. You can even have goals towards ensuring that, look, the stocks you are buying, for instance, you are building it up from 100 units to 1,000 units to 10,000 units. And the power of 1 naira. A lot of people are cleaning out in dividends. 1 naira, if I gave you 1 naira, you have abused my ancestors. But 1 naira times 1 million is 1 million naira. So let's be intentional. There are opportunities available within the Islamic IPC group to help you ensure that you grow, you invest in yourselves and in your future to leave legacies that you'll be very proud of. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Amy. I like how she said it. You don't have to have plenty money to start investing. You can start from what you have, where you have. You know how they say that it's the little drops of water that make a mighty ocean. It's not in one day that Rome was built. It's by, one step after another step. And then you just invest with what you have currently. And as you go on, just building that habit of investing naturally will come to you, even as your income will increase. Thank you very much for pointing that out. Over to you.
Thank you very much. One myth I would like to, I know that it's already dispelled, kind of, is that men are the sole providers in the family. Is that true?
No.
So you said yes? No. So women should know that at this point, some women still believe that, men should take care of all the bills, but the truth is that what we have heard today, women should learn to have their own savings, because like I said, there are tides in times. I've had experiences of people that the man was doing so well, something happened all of a sudden, maybe he lost his job, and the whole family was almost scattered over the place. We women are support system, we are able to help out too. And we've also seen a lot of women in captains of industries are women, taking care of things, dealing issues, taking care of national matters. You've seen presidents of countries being women. So if you're a woman and you feel that my husband should do everything, a man should do everything, putting it out to you that you can do something yourself. And that's why we are bringing out these solutions that can help you achieve those goals, that can help you be a solution, not a burden, be somebody that people look forward to. And that's why I want to challenge you today that please take advantage of all the solutions, these savings schemes, these investment opportunities, so that you can plan for the future. And like my colleague said, these Gen Zs are not even going to be a retirement plan. They take care of themselves first, because they have to take care of themselves first. So it's important that we, as women, from now start putting things aside, support our husbands, support our families, be the child, the parents will say, we'll take, when I call her, she'll give me what I need. Let's not kill the men. Let's support them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's not kill the men. Let's support them. And it's been said often and again that women have your own. We must have our own. And it's very, very important, because we live in a time and age where, you can't even rely on a man for everything. Yes, you're a support system, but you too have a system of your own. Thank you very much. To you, Ife.
Thank you. One myth I would like to dispel today is that you have to be a financial expert before you start investing, or you figure out your personal finance. No, you don't. Thank God for platforms like this, where you have free access to listen to women that are seasoned at what they do, managing money, retirement, estate planning, to listen to these ideas. These are seeds that are being sown. And where you have to take it up is to ensure that you follow with action. Right? Remember, I talked about action when I was saying something about the financial plan. Action is where the power lies, right? And you can leverage experts like this. They've gone to school for this. They have decades of experience for this. So you don't have to figure it out alone. You can leverage experts' opinion. You can leverage their expertise, their skills, their experience to build your own wealth. And I always ask, why not? Why are you not leveraging it? Why? Is it fear? They have, in terms of risk, they understand the risk, they understand the upside, they understand the latest trend in the industry, they understand where the money is, and they can guide you. So that's where what I would like to talk on.
Thank you, Ife. Please give her a round of applause. I like that she said they understand where the money is. So follow the money. Follow the money. You know, again, we talk about the Blue Blossom community for women in Stanbic IBTC, and it's not just a community for community's sake. It's a community because you can lean on their shoulders to, you know, gain wisdom, to, you don't have to be an expert to understand financial planning or to start investing. And I love that you touched on that, because you have people, you know, you can rest their knowledge, you can rest on their wisdom, their experience, their expertise to be able to build your own. And that's why we call it a community, because we are all working together, all growing together, learning together, and blooming together, because that's why we're here in Blue Blossom community. Please give a warm round of applause to all my panelists for doing justice to our conversation today. Bloom, invest in her. Go Bloom, invest in her. And to everyone online, thank you for joining us. You can drop the fire emojis, the clapping emojis if you've learned a lot, which I'm sure you have. So please celebrate my panelists online. Thank you very much. And yes, you can do it again in the room. Thank you. And now we're coming to members of our community. We want to feel your pulse. We want to hear from you. If you have any questions, if you have any observations, or anything you'd like us to touch on that we haven't touched on, especially as it concerns the theme for today, Go Bloom, invest in her. So we're taking questions from the audience now. I think there's a roving microphone. Perfect. We have one question over there. Oh, great. Our community members are ready to engage. So please take the microphone to them. Thank you. If you're online as well, please ensure you drop your questions, drop your name, and then ask your questions. Over to you, Mike. Your name and your question.
Okay, my name is Obi Ezoke. An interesting conversation. And I know most times we're just talking about the Gen Zs and starting early. But the question I ask, because for me, I'm retiring in 3 years. And we've had this engagement with Stanbic, and the question was, don't you think it's too late? And the answer was, no, it's not too late. Just because of everyone that is here, it's not really too late, because the fact you started 10 years ago, depending on your financial capacity, does not mean that if you become intentional, you will not be able to do anything greater. But I'm actually looking at, I can't remember her name, that spoke about the pension. It's really, I think you need to do a lot. I don't know Stanbic IBTC, because it's interesting that I've managed the pension account in my office for a very long time, and I never heard about the calculator. And a lot of people were asking questions, but you have other pension providers that really have this. So it's really important, you know, you let people know, because it will actually help many people to plan better. So, and it will be interesting if you can even share how do you download it and all that. It will be very interesting if you can do that. Thank you, everyone. It's really it was an interesting session.
Thank you so much, Madam Obi. So I would allow Shola respond, but just let me say something. You know what I love about this community is the fact that as we're empowering women, women are also empowering more women. I mean, she can also comfortably sit on this stage as a panelist now, telling us about how it's not too late to start investing. And that's because she's heard it before within the community. So that's a great observation. Thank you very much for sharing, Ma, from your wisdom. So, you know, in this community, we're all growing together, blooming, flourishing, and prospering. So thank you for sharing that. And thank you for pointing that out, because what it is it's a community. We're learning from ourselves. So we don't know it all. You've taught us, told us how to do better now. But I'll allow Shola respond to that. I beg your pardon. Olabisi respond to that. All right.
All right, thank you very much, Ma. And maybe I'll first of all start by apologizing. I mean, for that feedback, that you mentioned about not knowing about the pension calculator. And I'll just want to state, I mean, for the purpose of everyone that is interested in using that tool, like I said, it's a very powerful tool and it's something that we can use. Just like Madam Obi alluded, it's never too late. That's just the honest truth. It's never too late. So if you're interested in using that calculator to, start your journey, or even look at where you are to gauge, where you need to make adjustments, please, like I've mentioned, we have the calculator on our website. So if you go to www.stanbicibtcpension.com, you would see, the pension calculator there. If you also have a retirement savings account with us, you can log in to your retirement savings account either online on the web, that's my pension portal. So if you visit the website, you would also see my pension portal there that you can log in with your username and password, and then you would see the pension calculator. If you already have a mobile app on your phone, you can also log into the pension module on the mobile app, and you would also see the pension calculator there. I do hope that, for many of us from today, at least just for, even if it's for fun, would go visit the site, use the calculator, just, play around with it, and probably, get some wonderful insights about our financial goals that we can start, executing. Thank you.
Thank you, Olabisi. Thank you very much. Olabisi is Regional Manager of Business Development at Stanbic IBTC Pension Manager. So if after this you have more questions for her, you can speak to her after this session. But we do have a couple of questions in front. Who is helping with the roving microphone? Okay. So you can, just tell us your name and what you do, then ask your questions. Thank you.
Okay. My name is Oluchi Okore. I'm a project officer. And my question is this. I have an RSA. My company has an RSA with Stanbic. But again, I want to know, can one, like you mentioned the Future Me plan. So can one also have like an individual Future Me plan running alongside this other RSA?
All right. Thank you, Ma. So if you already have a retirement savings account, it's not advisable for you to have, a second pension account, which is, so the Future Me plan, yes, it's designed for those in the informal sector. So it's possible that, yes, you were working before, you had your retirement savings account while you were working in maybe a formal organization, and now you are self-employed, you're running your own business, and then you would like to continue, putting aside money into your pension account for the purpose of retirement. Usually what I would advise, the best way to go about it is, if someone has already, my colleague mentioned, alluded to it today, to say, please formalize your business. It's very important, So that means you have your business registered. And in having your business registered, you could also have it registered for pensions. And now, once you have your business registered for pensions, what it means is that you can put yourself on the payroll of your organization and pay yourself. So just the same way, while you were working and your organization was remitting into your pensions account, you can then put yourself on payroll and start remitting, into your pension account, both as an employee, as an employer. And that's because you already have an existing retirement savings account. But for individuals who have never opened, you've never had a retirement savings account before, you're interested in the Future Me plan, which I've said, is specifically designed for those in the informal sector who are not in a structured, organization. You can easily, visit our website. You would see the link to open the Future Me plan. It's very simple. The only thing you need is your NIN, and then you can get started with the Future Me plan. But should you already have an existing pension account just like yourself, I would advise formalize your business, have it registered, and then you can commence, making payments into the account for yourself. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, sorry, please. I have a second question. Okay, is along the line of mortgage. There's this. Then I got this mail from Stanbic then that they would support their pension account holders with more, if you want to get a mortgage. So I actually walked up to one of your branches at I think Ake Adeshola. Am I right? No, the one that moved to Adetokunbo right now. Yes. So I spoke with them. They said that it just I think 25% of your RSA that will be given. So my question now is this: okay, now if that 25% cannot help you get the mortgage, where do you come in to support?
Okay, thank you, Matt. So just to also, clarify, the 25% that you are getting, it's not even, if it's supposed to be towards the equity portion of your mortgage. So that means that you have a mortgage or a property that you're interested in, and typically, the way mortgage runs, there will be an equity portion that you will be required, to put down. And then what it means is that you can access part of your pension account. You can access part of your pension account as you can access parts of your pension account, 25% of whatever it is you have in your RSA, as to support, the equity portion of that mortgage. And so, of course, there are certain guidelines for you to qualify. So you must have contributed into that pension account for at least 5 years, 60 months before you can enjoy that. So that means that the 25% is targeted specifically for the equity portion, not basically the whole cost of the property. And so if your 25% is sufficient to fund the equity, maybe the 10% or 15% that you've been required to put down as equity for that mortgage, you can access your 25% and use it to pay. Where you don't have, enough for that, let's assume your 25% does not cover that, you would need to fund the balance before the application can even go forward. But the good thing also is that within the Stanbic IBTC group, should you be in that position where you have that property, your 25% is not eligible, through the support of the bank, because the Stanbic IBTC Bank is also one of the approved mortgage, institution, through the bank, we can work with you to see how, we can help with some sort of facility, to help you with that mortgage, that you're interested in. So just like Mujibade has said, if you are interested in having that conversation, you can meet with either myself or my colleague, also from the bank, and we'll be glad to, put you through that process. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Olabisi. Thank you. Your name, what you do, and straight to the question. Thank you, Ma.
All right, my name is Maureen Leonard. I'm an organizational psychologist. Well done, very brilliant conversation. But as a way of feedback, I just felt that there was no discussion about hedging risk using insurance. Talking about, I know that Amy talked briefly about group personal accident insurance, but there are a lot of people that would like to know more about life insurance, especially if your spouse has taken a life insurance and you are one of the dependent or a beneficiary from that life insurance. And when the spouse passes on, what are the responsibility for the wife? How do you assess those kind of monies out there? There are a lot of money out there on life insurance that people don't even know. So I was expecting to hear more, and it's just a way of feedback and how you can also use insurance to hedge other risk elements that can confront even the houses and all the other assets that were mentioned here as a way of feedback as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. So we have, one question. Can I see other hands so we know how many more questions we have? Just one. Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Okay. Good afternoon.
Thank you so very much, our panel, for such an enlightening discussion. But my question is actually directed at Ife. You know, when you spoke earlier on, I have banked, when I opened my organization, I decided to bank with IBTC. And at a particular point, I needed to open the DOM account. And it kind of became an issue. Up to date, no one came back to me. So I had to go to another bank and open. Now, I came to understand that it's actually depending on who you're dealing with, who you're talking to. Because I just thought if your staffs, allow me to use the word, knew some things that we are hearing today, maybe there would have been a better way for them to come back and a feedback. They never did, till today. So I had to go to another bank. And my company is doing very well. It's just a friend of mine keeps saying IBTC is tech, IBTC is good. And I have several of my schoolmates also working with you guys, and they say very good thing. But this is the very first time I'm seeing you and you talking, and every one of you are making absolute sense. But when we go out there to talk to your staff, right, they don't make sense. So we expect them to be well educated, because those of us you're speaking with here, yes, we are women, but in our field too, we know what we do. So you rightfully said, I'm not a banker. Funny enough, I studied French, and I get to work in the oil and gas. And I know when it comes to talking to my French guys and the Nigerian people, I become a liaison. And when I become a liaison, I'm able to interpret what they say. If I interpret wrongly, maybe most of the contract and the message they pass to us when we go to the banking sector is not what we are hearing here today. So how are we going to tackle that? So that when I come into your bank, I'm very happy to say, yes, of a truth, I'm banking with the very best. I will direct my next question to you, ma'am. You've spoken so very well, and you have hyped IBTC Bank. I'm hearing you for the first time, and I like how you spoke. But after today, what next? No. Yes.
Okay, Modupe.
Yes, Modupe. After today, what next? We need to get out there and sell ourselves well. We've all have spoken. But when we get out there, what next? That's my question. So, Ife, what are we going to do about our staffs? Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to hand over to the...
Okay, so let me... Ife is a guest. She's not a staff of Stanbic IBTC. But we can't afford to employ you. So thank you, ma'am, for the feedback. It's very useful feedback, and that's what the community is all about. So we're not saying we have it all. We're learning, we're taking the feedback, and we'll incorporate it. So part of what we're doing is, even as we have the education around, we're also educating. Syndrome has also affected. So I guess a lot of people that are knowledgeable have left. So it's feedback that we'll continue to do to push forward and educate everyone so that they understand. Because as an organization, we're about the best. So it's to be able to ensure that the same value you're getting here, down to the youngest person on the team, they all understand. And so we appreciate the feedback as well. And the feedback on insurance as well. Maybe at our next session, we'll have the insurance person here. But just to also just mention, there are different kinds of things around the insurance that you take. The most important thing that we do have when we're in paid employment is that you have the health insurance. Yeah, you have health insurance, and it's health insurance that you also need to have as you're retiring. Because if you go to the hospital now and there's something wrong, if you have an insurance, a health insurance in place, they're just going to ask for your HMO and get confirmations. But if you don't have, they will ask you to bring deposits, and the deposit that they probably will ask before they even start to treat is a challenge. So health insurance is one of those things. You can also have household insurance, where you have an insurance policy over the items in your house with as little as 10,000 naira. you can have that insurance policy so that if there's any power surge or anything that damages your items in the house, the insurance company will replace. There's also car insurance that is expected that we have. I know the government has made it mandatory that 15,000 you must have the third party, but you can take out a comprehensive insurance, and if anything happens, the insurance company will also pay. And we're part of a group that we have insurance brokers. You know, the challenge with insurance is that people just believe that insurance companies, they will not pay. When it comes to payments or claims, they will tell you, oh, there's one fine line. But with the insurance brokers, they understand each insurance company's policies, and they're able to go through the claims process as well. So we're saying, as a Stanbic IBTC group with end-to-end financial planning solutions, we're here to assist you. We've taken the feedback and we appreciate it dearly, and we'll ensure that every staff that is carrying our badge, our shield, our blue band, will understand and deliver the quality and service that you truly deserve. Thank you.
My name is Chinenye Kitibu Brown. I'm a business consultant and a product distributor. My questions are, one, do you insure products in the market? This is one of my questions. Then two, my question is directed to you, ma'am, about your support to businesses. When we come to the bank, we are told you don't finance startups. And most times you need to start somewhere. And if you don't start, you can't grow. So what do you people do about that? I have an example. I had done distribution for Popular brand for years, and for some reasons I stopped. And for some years I wasn't in business for health reasons and other things. And I was just about to start this month, and I reached out to the bank for support. And they said I have to grow my account again. And of course the account had gone in, had become, was it? Dormant, yes. And I was like, this business, when it was operational, the turnover was high. We were running into over $1 billion. And so can't you refer to old transactions? It's clearly that this business was stopped. It's not like it was mismanaged. We exited the business. So it wasn't a case of mismanagement and the bank is scared that their money will be lost. Can you refer to old transaction to approve loan? And I was told no. Not IBTC, not Stanbic IBTC though. So I am asking you now, can you step in to support this kind of business? And then for loans, how do you support women with, what's the difference? I know that you give 5% discount for loan for Blue Blossom accounts. And the truth is the loan interest rate now, they have gone really high, above what the businesses give us. What can you people do about this to help us? Thank you.
Okay, I think you've asked about 2-3 questions, and I'll do my best to see how I can summarize. And if you don't mind, probably after the session, I would also engage on a one-on-one so that way I can give you more bespoke answer. Around finance, you know, the first thing you're looking at when a customer engages is why. Why do you need this funds? For what purpose? What do you do? And, you know, because at the end of the day, we all have, you know, risk appetite in areas we play in. And that's why the why question needs to come in. And then for anybody giving funds, it's not my money. It's not our money. It's customers' money like yourself. And, you know, earlier I'd mentioned that one of the things we pride ourselves that is important is that we must do business the right way. It then means that whenever we're giving those funds, it's important that we are certain that we're going to get it back. Now, one of the things you need to do or assess to know that you can get those funds back is to be able to look at your repayment.
And the best way to look at that is your cash flow, your historical cash flow. So it is critical, because at the end of the day, we don't own this money, and we're supposed to be accountable for it. So I think at the end, like you said, it's not our bank, but what it is that there is no solution. And at the end of the day, it's important to sit down, look at those history. And I think another area really, when it then comes to, is this business a startup or not, is your capacity. How well can you do and execute business? Do you have experience in this business such that when we then extend those funds, you're certain that what you commit to doing, it's going to work and you're able to then repay back? So a lot of questions come into the dynamics such that at the end of the day, these checks must happen so that you are sure that, one, we're exercising. And one of the things I usually say is sometimes it's really not the finance, because it might just be advisory or guidance or even network, because you've created something and you're looking for access to market. And that's one of the beauty of what, ladies, women like yourself can enjoy in the community. To say, I have this, I provide these services, who is going to take it up? How quickly are my goods, being sold? So that those records are there, and then when we assess, we can then make that call. But I know that, like I said, it's important to look at each case, with bird's eye view. So I would engage after the session just to understand the dynamics of your business, and I think we should be able to take the conversations forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dupe. I think there's a question from an online participant here, and it says, my name is Faith from Simplified Credit. I want to know details about the Blue Blossom funding facility, such as the limit, eligibility, tenor, and interest rate, please. I think that's for you also. So she wants to know about the Blue Blossom funding facility, the limit, the eligibility, the tenor, and then the interest rate.
Thank you. Okay, so in terms of offering, I think what we've created in Blue Blossom is a value proposition. And since the question is around the loan offering itself, there are various things. I mean, today, I know if I extend the mic to the floor, you guys will name it all: overdraft, term loan, IDF, invoice discounting, LPOs. So we'd have it all. Blue Blossom women can subscribe for these various offerings. What we've actually just done is to make it more, for lack of a better word, cheaper. So we've offered some incentive by way of discount in terms of fees that should be paid, and then also taking some variances of, the interest rates that should be paid, such that if we look at what our male counterparts should get, we are getting a discount compared to what it is that they pay. I think the one I would talk about, which is peculiar to just Blue Blossom women, is the Blue Blossom Easy Cash, which is our digital loan offering, and it's collateral free, where you can get up to 5 million. Now, to qualify for that, you can't apply for it. It's actually practicing, being intentional, like Amy says, using your account. And once you use your account consistently, then you then get qualified, such that, you get an SMS on your phone and it says you've been qualified up to this limit. If there's specifics, we can take it offline and then have those conversations. Interest rate right now usually hovers around MPR plus 5.5. That's on average what those interest rates are for Blue Blossom.
Okay, thank you.
On average, but then, like I said, there are different offerings. So, but on average, interest rate is MPR, yeah. Yeah, because MPR now is 22.75.
Thank you very much, Modupe. I think that's all the questions we have in the room. We can give room for a final one. Is there any one final question before we wrap this all up? All right, thank you very much, beautiful Blue Blossom women. Round of applause, please, for my panelists. We would rise for a group photograph and then wrap up. Give the peace sign. Thank you very much. Please give my panelists a round of applause as they exit the stage. All right, so the aim today was to answer questions, to network, to meet people within the community, to just share ideas, and of course share some knowledge. And I think that we have done well with excuse me, sir, shouldn't I be in this picture? And I think so far we have done well with, providing answers to some of the questions we have. I know that some people will have further questions and they might not want to ask it publicly or openly. Our panelists are still here, and we have some executives here from Stanbic IBTC, and they are able to provide answers to, questions that we may have, burning on our minds. But we'd like to thank you all, especially for your feedback. Like I've been reiterating over the past couple of minutes or over an hour that we've been here, that the purpose of the community is to share feedback, to share knowledge, to also fuel your pulse, to be sure that we're saying and doing the right things, because we need to serve you better. So thank you so much to everyone who's giving their feedback. We definitely have taken that feedback and those feedback, and we will do better by you, because that's why we're here, to serve every one of you. So thank you very much for your feedback, because it's because you love us that you're giving us the feedback. You could have ignored every other thing and just gone home. So we say thank you for the feedback. We'd also like to thank you for your time. Like I said, today is a Wednesday, it's midweek. There's so many things that could be competing for your attention, but you chose to be here with us at our webinar, the Blue Blossom Community Webinar. So we'd like to thank you for your time. We don't take it for granted in any way, and we do hope that this has been well worth your time. Again, we'd like to thank you for choosing us. That's most important. Thank you for choosing us. Thank you for your feedback, for your presence, and for choosing us. At this point, ladies and gentlemen, I see a gentleman who has sat there. Thank you for coming. This brings us to the close of our Blue Blossom webinar for today. We will see you at our next webinar, where share more ideas, and of course we hope that by that time we would have taken your feedback into action. We want you to stay back to network, take pictures, meet members of the community. We have light refreshment for you, so don't go without taking light refreshment. Take pictures, engage, connect, and ask questions, most importantly. My name is Mojibade. I will again. My name is Mojibade Shosonya. It has been an absolute pleasure serving as your compere and also moderating that fire panel conversation. Thank you so much for the applause. It makes me really happy, and I feel so blossomed and bloomed this morning. All right, it's afternoon now, so have a great afternoon. Please enjoy the light refreshment we prepared for you. We will see you at the next webinar. Goodbye to everyone joining virtually. You won't be able to enjoy the refreshment, but go to your fridge, go to your freezers, and what you have there. All right, we'll see you next time. Bye.
Mama, Honorable Duchess of the Market that keeps our belly full, Her Royal Highness, the one that turns hundreds into millions. We, your children you carried on your back, say thank you. Mama no dey sleep, no dey tire. The ever-efficient Chief Operations Officer, Bebe di Bebe, new media marketer, turning likes into credit alerts. Sweet babe, running a 9 to 5. Yeah, yet still turning up for your people. Women are blooming with ideas, thriving in life and business. At Stanbic IBTC, we are cheering you on. Blue Blossom is for women who want to save, invest, and grow in life. Go bloom with Stanbic IBTC. Stanbic IBTC. Mama, honor. Honorable Duchess of the market that keeps our belly full, Her Royal Highness, the one that turns hundreds into millions. We, your children you carried on your back, say thank you. Mama no dey sleep, no dey tire. The ever-efficient Chief Operations Officer, Bebe di Bebe, new media marketer, turning likes into credit alerts. Sweet babe, running a 9 to 5, yet still turning up for your people. Women are blooming with ideas, thriving in life and business. At Stanbic IBTC, we are cheering you on. Blue Blossom is for women who want to save, invest, and grow in life. Go bloom with Stanbic IBTC. Stanbic IBTC.